Hello everyone, this is Chromoid, and welcome back to Tank Wars 3 Secondary Bracket Matches in Round 2. Today we're going to have the Trunk and Leaves, submitted by Satire, going up against the ACV B2s by Volken. This is basically a 10v10 with, well, actually, it's a 10v8 where you have two land cruisers and six tanks versus just a battle line of 10 tanks. So we're going to see who comes out on top here in just a few seconds. 3, 2, 1, fight. And again, worth noting, this is the final fight for at least one of these entries. Secondary bracket means you've used up your first chance, and if you lose now, you are out of the tournament for good. So we're just going to watch and see who comes out on top. The Trunk is taking a huge amount of damage. ACVs from last tournament were no slouches, and they don't seem to be in this one either, and they've added missiles to their armament. Very impressive so far. The Tracers have, of course, stopped spawning in, unfortunately. Rapid fire shells are still pelting the Trunk left and right. The missiles mostly missed, but yeah, if you look on the top left, you'll see that one Trunk is already taking a little bit of a pelting. Not as much as you'd think. The ACVs are not chewing through that armor very well. The missiles are, however, starting to hit leaves, which is not good. Leaves are not the most durable things. Although those missiles didn't do much to the leaves either. I don't know why the leaves are turning around, though. This one seems to be struggling with the idea of turning and engaging the enemy, which is not very helpful. One ACV is down to 67%. I'm not sure what. Oh, it lost a turret. Well, good to know these ACVs are also prone to turret popping like their predecessors. Oh, that's unfortunate. The Trunk is in among them now and firing at will. I'm not exactly sure what kind of shell it's packing. Oh, it has taken a lot of damage to the front. Fortunately, it has a blade of armor in front and then a bunch of turret armor around the turret well as well. But I don't think it can continue sustaining this kind of damage. It does forcibly flip an ACV over, shoots through it to hit one of the ACVs in the back. That's very good. Very good. It's got a wall in front of it now, so the ACVs on the other side are going to be shooting into their teammate trying to hit this tank. Over here we've got another land cruiser just rolling in without fear to the middle of an ACV field, which is not something I personally would suggest doing. ACVs are very terrifying when they coordinate their efforts. One is scampering up the mountain backwards. Be careful with that. You don't want to go too high. That first ridge is okay, but the second one is a doozy. ACVs have a very, very good engine power. Look at that. He just goes right up the hill with no issues. Now, being up here would give him an advantage on shooting down onto the top of his enemies, but, you know, going too high is not advisable. Several ACVs already have lost their turrets. You can see by the 60%, which ones have already suffered pretty significant damage. There's one there, one on the side of the mountain. The leaves are putting in some work, it seems. Yeah, they're firing away in the back there. Did one turn around? Yeah, the one that got turned is still not exactly sure about this whole. Oh, there he is. Okay, so he was just rearranging himself. Oh well, I don't understand. Oh, they turn around to run backwards and then turn back around when they're at the range they want to be at. Now that one ACV is still crawling sideways up the hill. It has stopped though. There's another one scampering up the hill too. They are trying their best to avoid getting too close to these land cruisers, which I think is a good plan. Oh no, the land cruiser's shooting through the mountainside. That's not good. You want to shoot something closer, buddy. Like maybe the one right behind you. Neither of the land cruisers have lost their turrets though, so they're still very much a threat. They are taking some damage, but they're still at 91 and 90%. Nobody's really on Satire's team is really taking significant damage yet. The turrets, despite being exposed in many places, are still very much resistant against this non-stop rapid-fire cannon from the ACVs. The missiles streaking down the hill to try to add a little bit to the damage output. But the ACVs, their biggest strength is in numbers, and already the effective firepower has been cut significantly in the form of those that have already lost their turrets to Satire's guns. And of course, the Trunks doing what they're supposed to do, taking all of the focus off of the leaves, and the leaves are getting to now to shoot at the back of the ACVs. And I'm not sure how well the back is armored. The leaves, oh, there they go. They're closing in, getting a little closer, willing to choose to gain some distance while they can. Unfortunately, that attracts the attention from this ACV. as it turns back to focus its guns on the intruders from behind. I'm not sure if it's going to actually fire, though. There are missiles coming out, and they are, yep, several turrets are turning around. The leaves got close enough to draw priority fire from the ACVs, and they seem to have realized it. At least this one has. He's like, oh, no, you know what? I want to turn around and, no, turn back around. Turn back around and face the enemy. He can't make up his mind. I think he wants to turn around and gain distance instead of rolling backwards. Just gonna turn around and run, which is when you don't when you're a casemate. I'm not sure that's the wisest thing to do, but to each their own. Yeah, the ACVs are looking a little worse for wear. One of the trunks both the trunks are already being worn down heavily, though. They're running out of time. The leaves are running out of time. The trunk here has already gotten itself stranded and has lost its gun, and no longer firing. This one still has its gun, but I mean it's only a matter of time, really. The ACVs put down a withering barrage, and while each individual shell may not do a ton of damage, having 10 of them fire at that rate is gonna take a toll over time. We've only lost 2 turrets in the entire ACV lineup, and the leaves are taking this opportunity to run away. That's not what they need to do. They need to take out the turrets on these things. See some leaves already going down 94%, 93%. They do not take damage as well as the trunks do. One trunk already disqualified. That's probably the one that had... Is that the one that still had the gun? Yeah, the one that had the gun has been disqualified. I think the turret got popped off of it. This one is still active, but very badly hurt, and the ACVs are ignoring it. I think the weapon has been destroyed on it. They know that it is now weaponless, and they're going to ignore it for the rest of the fight until they're done with the leaves. The leaves have done a good job, but not good enough. They have not decapitated enough of these ACVs to make a difference. And now the heat is on them. They are, I don't think, as equipped to handle the ACV barrage as the trunks were. And these guns are just not hitting the way they should. They've popped a handful of turrets. I see one over there, one here. Excuse me. Yeah, there's two of the ACVs have lost turrets. That's 2 out of 10, meaning 8 can still shoot, and they're all focusing the leaves now. The leaves seem to be having some control issues, not wanting to turn and face their opponents. That's not good. Yeah, turning around to run away. So instead of backing up, they tend to spin around, run the opposite direction, and then turn back around, which wastes a lot of time that they could be spending firing while running back. Oh, that's unfortunate. And another shell dinks into the ground in the distance. I think the ACVs looked like they were getting thrown on the back foot at first, but I think they're going to be able to come out ahead unless the leaves pull out some really miraculous shots right here and now. They're going to have to put down some heavy fire on the ACVs. And unfortunately, these ACVs are hiding kind of in a bit of a divot here, which may or may not mess up the shell trajectory on the leaves. See, they're advancing up, firing, and then rolling backwards. That's more because they're at the distance they want to be than less the AI trying to use the terrain for cover, but it's working out that way. You see the shells kind of flying off in the distance, and the tracers aren't rendering. My computer has an issue with that. But yeah, there's one trunk in the back, very sad and lonely and completely impotent at this point, and 8 ACVs all shooting down whatever they can see. And I don't think the leaves can sustain this for much longer. Already got one at 78%. Dropping even lower, 77%. Just took a whole barrage of missiles to the face. The leaves are more durable than I've given them credit for. To be fair, they're very durable. They're just not trunk levels of durable, and I think they were supposed to do a lot more damage than they did before the trunks basically ran out of armor and weaponry. A lot of people have used prioritization rules in this tournament to make sure that their guns do not fire at anything that is not weaponized. So the moment a weapon system gets knocked out, or all weapon systems on a vehicle gets knocked out, they stop shooting it and leave it alone to focus on something that is a threat. The ACVs are certainly seem to do this. They were all over this trunk earlier, and now they're just ignoring it completely and advancing. So very good design choice in AI control. And I think the way to counter that would be to actually have more than one weapon, kind of like people like Sithfin have done, which is load up your main frontline vehicles with a ton of weaponry, even if most of it is kind of subpar, perhaps at certain ranges, and that means that they will always be the center of attention. That things will always want to shoot them. you won't have them being ignored, and they can also do damage. Even if the weapons aren't exactly the strongest, they can still try to do damage. And if they can't do damage, then they can at least draw fire for other vehicles that can. Oh man, Leaves getting reamed by missiles. Still okay though. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. Well, there's somebody got into the middle there and took out something. I see a ammunition clip. I cannot talk today. Hold on a second. There we go. Much better. I had something in my throat. Oh, a missile goes streaking into the sky. Well, that one didn't have control. Oh, man. Yeah, firing line is going to finally do for the Leaves here. And when they're done with the Leaves, they're going to turn around and take care of the trunk, I suspect. ACV over here looking a little worse for wear, missing most of its track and part of its side. The Leaves have done a job on some of the ACVs, but unfortunately, it's not been enough. Not enough damage dealt in the early phases when the trunks were still active, and I think that's just going to be it. We have 4 minutes left. Already 3 DQs on Satire's side. All of Volken's entries are still in play. Even if some of them are ineffective at this point, they still count as HP. So if it comes to a timeout, that's going to be significant. 53 to 95.1%. And I do think this might be a knockout very soon here. The missiles alone, with their high overhead arc, gives the ACVs a reliable source of damage even if the terrain is blocking the relatively low and flat shell trajectory. So in time, they can just theoretically whittle away at the armor until something critical goes boom. That one, something critical may have already gone boom. They've stopped shooting at this one. Most likely, it's because the gun has been disconnected. Yeah, I see. It doesn't look like this one, which still has all of its connectors intact. So they're ignoring anything that doesn't have a functioning weapon system. Yep, they're going to quickly dismantle this one from the front and then move on to anything else that still has weapons. I'm pretty sure this one's out of the fight. Yep, that gun is disabled. So that leaves really just 2 Leaves that have guns on them, and the ACVs know it, and they're just going to slowly pelt them to death. 3 minutes left in this match. 3 minutes left for a miracle to occur. I don't think it's going to. There's still enough vehicles scattered all around that nobody's going to be out of range of each other. So there's no disqualification rules coming into play here. See another Leaf chunking down to 61%. They're all at uncomfortably low percents. Only one is at 90, and that's I think that's might be this one, right? Yeah, that's this one. It was this one. The trunk is still at 82.4%, which is, something, but it has no weapon. So I mean, it's just sitting there, and it obviously has no ability to move anymore. So I mean, it's useless. And with the rest of its team dying, it's just a matter of time before it gets turned on and dismantled as well. That's very, very brutal. Yeah, all the ACVs have now taken notice of the last one that still has a weapon on it and are slowly chunking it down. 2.5 minutes to go, and this will be over. I think once this last weapon goes, we're just going to call it, because at that point, yeah, Satire's team can't shoot back anymore, so it's pretty much over, and it's just going to be a very, very slow and painful death, I'm afraid. Yeah. Yeah. It's aiming the gun, but I don't know that it has anything in the chamber. You can see the splashes of the HE shells or the heat shells from the ACV still hitting the ground, so their very flat trajectory is messing with their ability to shoot. But I mean, the missiles are going to help with that, even if their trajectory isn't. All right, there's a couple of shells hitting. Every once in a while, one hits the ground, but the most of them are actually, yeah, you can see most of them are actually hitting the tank. Another trunk has despawned. They finally got tired of it being around, and they chunked it out of existence. Yeah, they finally focusing at that. All the Leaves have lost their weapons at this point, so it's really just free fire for the ACVs. They're just going to take out anything they want. You can see the percentages ticking down rapidly now. When they actually have line of sight to their target, they're very, very lethal. When terrain gets in the way, ACVs tend to struggle a bit with the whole matter of killing things. Another reason why people like to use Cram in this tournament is because it kind of ignores the whole terrain business, being able to just kind of loop up and over any of these low hills. Same thing with missiles, although a lot of people like to shoot missiles low to the ground, which then results in them doing this weird bouncing thing that misses a lot of targets. Nutterchap is one person who's managed to get around this by having his vehicles run straight up the side of the mountain and just kind of hang out there. So even though they're a better shot for literally everything in the tournament, they can pretty much rain missiles down from on high with impunity. They aren't going to miss very often. Or at least that's the theory anyway. I think that's the theory. Yeah, ACV tearing another leaf open, down to 53%. That one's going to despawn. Another leaf going down to 58%. Another one at 63. So we'll let this time out. They may actually finish off the entire team before the match is over. Okay, there's one despawning. 37 seconds left to kill off 2 more leaves. Another shot goes in. Another couple shots hit. This one is going down to 54%, and that's going to be it for this leaf, leaving 27 seconds left to deal with the remaining leaf over here. And here it comes. With less projectiles in the way, you can kind of now see the tracers as they rain in. And yeah, it doesn't take long. ACVs are pretty effective against lightly armored targets. Well, I think that's going to be it. The timer's going to run out as the last leaf is being dismembered, and that's going to leave it with a victory for Volken in the secondary brackets. So, Satire, I'm very sorry, but your beautiful leaves and trunk are going to have to leave the tournament, and Volken, your ACV B2s are going to be carrying on in the secondary brackets. But thank you both for participating. Thank you all who watched this. I've been Chromewood, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.